This week in gaming, Epic announced staggering layoffs, proving that not even Fortnite money can save developers. Sony revealed increased pricing for all PlayStation 5 models, EA is shutting down a cult Battlefield title, and much more. Epic announced 1,000 layoffs this week as part of a broader $500 million restructuring plan aimed at cutting costs. Affected employees include high-profile and senior developers, such as the artist who designed Fortnite's main character, Jonesy, along with several other recognizable characters. Other developers who were laid off include leaders and key figures involved in the game's events, map design, and even a lead programmer who had been with the company for nearly a decade. This comes despite Fortnite alone generating $6 billion in revenue last year. On top of this, last week Epic raised the cost of Fortnite's premium currency V-Bucks, citing high operational costs associated with maintaining the game. In this week's layoff announcement, CEO Tim Sweeney offered a more detailed explanation, saying that despite Fortnite remaining one of the most successful games in the world, we've had challenges delivering consistent Fortnite magic with every season. We're only in the early stages of returning to mobile and optimizing Fortnite for the world's billions of smartphones, and in being the industry's vanguard, we have taken a lot of bullets in a battle which is only in the early days of paying off for ourselves and all developers. And really, to me, it seems like we've seen nothing but AAA industry shedding people for the past several years. And if a game as big as Fortnite is starting to get hit as well, it's really pointing to signs that the AAA game industry is, well, not what it used to be, to say the least, but also in trouble. A lot of these mega studios are going to end up downsizing in the long run, regardless of their management or strategy tactics. I think the market has just opened up in a big way, which has made AAA less monopolistic. Sony has announced a flat $100 price increase for all PlayStation 5 models, including the PlayStation 5 Pro. Starting on April 2nd, anyone looking to buy a PS5 will be facing a $650 price tag for the base model. The PS Portal, which is essentially a handheld game streaming device, is also increasing in price from $200 to $250. This is the second price hike Sony has implemented within the last year, after raising PS5 prices by $50 last August across all models. The company cited continued pressure in the global economic landscape for its latest round of increases. PlayStation has also allegedly been caught testing dynamic discount pricing for games in select territories. Screenshots of Stellar Blade's pricing on the PlayStation Store show how its price ranges from $39.89 to $20.99 depending on the account used to view the store. Rumors about PlayStation testing dynamic pricing began circulating late last year. This is the first time, though, that we may be seeing evidence of it actually being implemented. Game reviewers published their official reviews of Marathon this week following Bungie's guidance to hold off until the endgame area, which released a map called Cryo Archive. And the reviews are generally positive, and based on my own time with the game, I can confirm that it has a fairly solid foundation right now. But there are some serious concerns that Sony might kick that leg out from under it. One industry analyst claims the game has sold only 1.2 million copies since launch, with nearly 70% of those sales coming from Steam on PC. To put that into context, Marathon's estimated sales are roughly on par with Destiny 2's worst performing expansion, The Final Shape. That DLC reportedly struggled to hit 1 million pre-orders, while more popular expansions were reaching 2 to 3 million. Since launch, Marathon has seen a gradual decline in its concurrent players, which could indicate that whatever core audience the game has is not growing. It is especially concerning because the Cryo Archive map is supposed to be a major draw for both new and returning players. Bungie has already had to issue updates to the game's matchmaking to ensure players in isolated geographic regions can find matches quickly. Players outside the US and Europe have reported waiting more than 10 minutes to find a match. The developers are also looking into broader player feedback. One major point of contention is that the Cryo Archive is a limited time event that players can only access on weekends. EA is shutting down 2016's Battlefield Hardline on console. The game will remain available on PC, but console players will lose access in June. Hardline developed a cult following and genuinely brought some fresh ideas and fun content to the franchise, but it was also one of the worst received Battlefield games of all time and struggled to maintain a large enough player base to support its DLC maps. EA has already taken Bad Company 2 offline, and other aging titles like Battlefield 3 and 4 had their Xbox Xbox 360 and PS3 versions shut down in 2024. Valve is finally taking decisive action against cheaters in Counter-Strike 2. The latest ban wave removed nearly 1 million accounts tied to botting and case farming. Reports about servers being overrun with bots hit social media a few months ago, prompting Valve to investigate. The result was 960,000 accounts being permanently banned this week. A typical ban wave in Counter-Strike 2 usually reaches only in the thousands or tens of thousands when Valve is being particularly proactive. So hopefully this latest wave is a sign that the company is stepping things up. The highly anticipated open-world action RPG Crimson Desert had not great reviews when it launched last week, but after a series of quality-of-life updates and more players reaching the game's stronger content, the reviews have shifted to very positive. Early reviews cited issues with unintuitive controls and a lack of engaging missions, but it seems like the deeper players get into the game, the more it opens up. Long-term impressions have been much more favorable, with many saying that the later hours make up for the rocky start. The developers also announced that they're working on support for Intel's Arc GPUs. At launch, the game did not support Intel GPUs at all, which was not disclosed until just hours before release, and it caught many players by surprise. The developers say they're working on the issues and will provide an update when support is ready. Splitgates developers 1047 Games announced their next game is already deep into development. They're saying that fans of Titanfall and Black Ops 3 should apply for playtesting, which suggests the new game project will heavily emphasize movement mechanics. Unfortunately for 1047, its reputation is not in a great place right now. Its latest game, Splitgate 2, launched to disastrous results, prompting the studio to unlaunch it and then rework it to better match what players were hoping for, but that effort did not turn things around, and the studio eventually went through layoffs while Splitgate 2's player counts continued to struggle. The upcoming game is expected to enter playtesting soon. Stalker II's first major expansion has been announced. Cost of Hope launches this summer and will add a massive amount of new content, including dozens of hours of gameplay, new weapons, new areas to explore, enemies, and more. It'll also introduce the Chernobyl nuclear power plant and the Iron Forest as new regions, each with its own hub areas and quests. The developers have also announced that another DLC is in the works that will further expand the game's story, though no details have been announced as of yet. Xbox's new head, Asha Sharma, says she hopes to make Game Pass more affordable for gamers. One example she gave was bundling the service with Netflix, which has itself raised prices twice within the past year. Early on, many people saw Game Pass as the best deal in gaming because it gave users access to a huge library of major titles for a fraction of what those games would cost individually. But over time, the service has become more expensive and subscriber growth has slowed. Maybe bundling it with other services could make it more attractive, but it is hard to say. Up next, if you want to see a video about why Battlefield does big maps so well, check this one out where we cover the 10 best big maps for Battlefield, and it really just showcases kind of what we're missing in Battlefield 6. I think you guys will enjoy it. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap signing off.